Hello and welcome back to Classic Times. Today I'll be covering stage 28 of the Cambridge Latin course, and I'll be covering the topics of the ablative case and time expressions. So we've got a lot to cover in today's video because it's the last stage in book 3. So let's get cracking. The ablative case. So the ablative is the final case in Latin, and it's translated as by, with, or from. And an example in English is Cogidubnus, overwhelmed by an illness, wrote his will. So now let's have a look at the ablative endings. So here are the full noun tables for all of the different cases with all 3 declensions. And in the highlighted rows are the new ablative endings. So in the first declension, the singular ends in a and the plural ends in is. In the second declension, the singular ends in an o and the plural again ends in is. And finally, in the third declension, the singular ends in an e and the plural ends in ibus. Feel free to pause the video if you would like to brush up on the complete endings for all the different cases. Now, let's move on to time expressions. So Latin uses cases rather than prepositions to express time in 2 different ways. Firstly, in time how long, which is translated using the word for, and it's expressed in Latin using the accusative case. For example, the commander talked to Quintus for 2 hours. And secondly, in time when, which is translated as at or on, and Latin uses the ablative case to express time when. And an example in English is, at the 6th hour, the messenger arrived. So essentially, time how long describes a duration of time for which something was conducted, and time when describes a point in time when something happened. So let's have a quick look at prepositions. So the first set of prepositions, with the red arrows pointing to them, are used with the accusative, and the second set of prepositions listed below with the green arrow pointing to them are used with the ablative. Feel free to pause the video if you want to have a quick look at all these prepositions. And finally, before the vocab, I would like to have a quick look at the preposition in. So this is slightly special because it can be used with a noun in either the accusative or the ablative. So if we have a look at these examples, cives in forum concurrunt, the citizens ran into the forum. And secondly, mercatores in foro negotium agabant, the merchants were doing business in the forum. So the first example uses the preposition in with an accusative noun, so it's been translated with into. And in the second example, the preposition in has been used with an ablative noun, so it's been translated with the word in. So context really does determine how you would translate this particular preposition. And I am conscious I've rattled through the grammar quite quickly today, but there's been a lot to get through, so hopefully you'll still understand. Now, let's have a look at some more vocabulary. Ac means and. Atque also means and. Constituere, to decide. Corpus is a body. Dolere, to be in pain. Gemitus, groan. Ira is anger. Malus means bad or evil. Mandare, to hand over or to entrust. Metus, fear. Occidere, to kill. Opes, wealth or money. Quidquam, anything. Sic means thus or in this way. Spes, hope. Suspicatus, having suspected. Ut, as you should be aware, this has many meanings, but it can also mean as. And finally, ventus is wind. And because this is the end of book 3, it's time to brush up on all of the numbers that we've met. Unus, 1. Duo, 2. Tres, 3. Quatuor, 4. Quinque, 5. Sex, 6. Septem, 7. Octo, 8. Novem, 9. Decem, 10. Viginta, 20. Triginta, 30. Quadriginta, 40. Quinquaginta, 50. Sexaginta, 60. Septuaginta, 70. Octoginta, 80. Nonaginta, 90. Centum, 100. Mille, 1,000. And millia, thousands, plural. Okay, so I hope to clarify the grammar that we've covered with a few examples. First, the ablative. Galatea clamoribus excitata, irratissima erat. Galatea, woken by the shouts, was very angry. Milites, gladiis armati, Britannos interfecerant. The soldiers, armed with swords, killed the Britons. Salvius ex urbe festinavit. Salvius hurried from the city. So notice how all of these sentences have been translated with either the words by, with, or from to denote the ablative. Now let's have a look at a few examples of time expressions. Quintus in aquis sulis tres dies mansit. Quintus stayed in Bath for 3 days. Tertio die, Quintus ad aquis sulis pervenit. On the 3rd day, Quintus reached Bath. Quinta hora, Sextus forum intravit. At the 5th hour, Sextus entered the forum. So this first example is an example of a time how long, because it describes a duration for 3 days. And the second two examples are time when, as they denote a point in time. Now, I would like you to have a go at the following sentences. Note the couple of words which I've glossed in the top right, and pause the video to have a go at these sentences. Now, let's go through the answers. Agricola sermonem cum Salvio multas horas habebat. Agricola was having a conversation with Salvius for many hours. Decimo die Agricola pugnare constituit. On the 10th day, Agricola decided to fight. Quatuor dies fugitius in silva latabat. The fugitive was lying hidden in the wood for 4 days. Iuvenes gladio armatus ad castro contendit. The young man, armed with a sword, hurried to the camp. So well done if you got all of those right. But frankly, by this point, I would be expecting you all to be passing with flying colours. So this is the final thing I would like you to do today. I would like you to match up the following prepositions to the correct English translation. So pause the video and have a go at this task. Okay, so the answers are up on screen now. So pause the video and quickly mark your work. So give yourself a score out of 8, and hopefully you've managed to correctly match up these prepositions. Well done if you have. So we've now covered stage 28 of the Cambridge Latin course. So let's summarise. The ablative case is translated with the words by, with, or from. And there is a table of the endings in the top right of this slide. Time expressions. There are two types. In a time how long, Latin uses the accusative case, and it's translated with the word for. And in a time when, Latin uses the ablative, and it's translated with on or at. And remember, time how long expresses duration of time, and time when denotes a specific point of time. And finally, we've met a few prepositions, which are either used with an accusative noun or an ablative one. And I know I rattled through a lot of that content quite quickly, but there was a lot to get through in this stage. But hopefully it was still useful, and join me in my next video where I'll be covering stage 29, the first stage in book 4 of the Cambridge Latin course.